Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews, and today I'll be reviewing the Rtic 65 cooler with an optional aftermarket made by hand wheel kit, and there's a handle up there on the front too. But we're reviewing the wheel kit and the cooler and letting you know if it's worth buying and investing in, because that's what you're really doing in these coolers nowadays, because they cost this. And accessory wise from Rtic, I did purchase the divider that goes through the middle and the rack that sits on top to keep stuff dry and cool up out of your ice and stuff like that. And to test the cooler out, I did check and make sure it had a good seal, because I did read some of the reviews that said it didn't. So when I first got it in, cut all the lights off, stuck a lantern down in there and closed it up, and there was no light leakage out of the cooler, so good seal. And also, I like investing in gel packs to keep stuff cool instead of ice when I go on trips. So I can just alternate those in and out of the cooler, into the freezer, into the cooler every day. And I don't have to worry about going to buy ice. So what I did on the right side, I put the equivalent of just 10 pounds of ice or so, just the generic size of ice that you would get anywhere. I put that equivalent in the right side, and the left side, about actually an hour or two after I put the gel in. The gel packs actually did the chilling of the pre-chilling of this cooler, which is something that you're supposed to do, is actually chill the cooler for a little while before you add stuff into it. Whatever, I'm never going to do that, to be honest. But anyway, we had a football game, and I just put the gel packs on the right side. A relative came over, poured his ice over here into the left side, and put his brew in there. Everything stayed cool, of course, the whole day. But here's the neat part. They both melted. Like, I kept an eye on it. I kept opening the cooler lid up probably 2 or 3 times a day just to check on it. Saturday at noon, I put the gel packs in. Tuesday at 10 p.m., both sides melted completely equally. I was watching the ice. It had a couple of floaties in there. But, so when it completely melted, I checked all the gel packs themselves. Here they are. They were completely melted, but these I got free. I've got like a whole freezer full in my garage free of these, because we do the Home Chef Blue Apron type meals, and those reusable gel packs come in there free to transport your goods in, keep them frozen and stuff. And I just take them and put them in the freezer and reuse them, so I don't have to buy any. I've never had to really buy any of those. We just keep reusing them. And sometimes the gel will leak out of them, but it's supposed to be okay for you, non-toxic. But we just throw them away whenever they start to leak, because sometimes they freeze, get some jagged edges on them, start to thaw out, and you're like, crap, it's leaking. Throw it away, no big deal. And you could probably just put them in a Ziploc heavy-duty bag if you're worried of them leaking, and use them that way. But I think the gel packs actually outlasted the ice. So that was just a quick kind of realistic. I'm not gonna like line them up, have a temperature gun, check them, make it all out right, legit, because there's a million of those online competing Rtic with Yeti and some of the other ones. The fact is, this is half the price of the Yeti, and I think it does just as good a job, and it'll probably last you an entire lifetime. That's how well it's built. And the parts are easily changed out in case something ever happens to them. So the only thing that Rtic doesn't offer is this wheel kit. So, oh, and also, I did keep this in the house the entire time, so it stayed about 68 degrees or so in here. So to me, that's kind of like ideal set conditions, and it never went in and out of the house. And also, the drain plug never leaked, so that was a big plus, because it was on my carpet. So do you need a $200 cooler like this, or were you lucky enough to get it for like 160 bucks? They actually offered this, I think it was 2 months before Black Friday or so, or a month maybe. They offered it for like 160, I think it was, and it was free shipping and everything. So that's why I jumped on this thing, because that was one hell of a deal. And I've never seen it that cheap before, so it was definitely a good buy just from that standpoint. Do you need it? Well, I don't know. Do you? Like, I've got a Coleman 5-day max freeze cooler down there. I think I spent 40 bucks for it. It's about the same size. It'll probably last me, if I used it on a regular basis, it'd probably last like 5 years or so before a hinge would break, the lid would pop off or something like that. I've had that happen on those types of coolers. Or the wheel, they're just cheap plastic, would break off, or the handle would break, because it does have a handle that retracts and wheels on it. So at 40 bucks, 5 years, you know, do you really use a cooler that much? Or is it just one of those things like, wow, I want to have that kind of thing? But regardless of why you want it, it'll last a lifetime. So let's talk about these custom wheels, where to get them, how to contact the guy to have them made. Such a simple, awesome idea. I think it's just a perfect thing that exists. And I don't know why Rtic doesn't make it, but he makes it, and you're looking at about 100 bucks for this, and you're like, what the heck? 100 bucks for tires? Well, if you look at the Yeti aftermarket tires, there's a company that sells them, and they're like $300 almost. But the cool thing about the Yeti one that's different from this one is on the Yeti, it actually has a bracket in here, which you can move this axle up onto the bracket and gives you more of a ground clearance. This one will stay pretty much flush. I mean, it's almost flush straight across, so you can still sit on it and leave the wheels on it. And when you raise it up, you get about this much clearance. But let's look at how this is made and what you got to do to fix it onto this, because this is probably one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life. All right, this is what you get in the initial wheel kit, is just the axle, and then there's the L bracket down here which holds the bottom. They've got pegs on the bottom which go in pre-existing holes underneath this cooler where the rubber pads go, so it doesn't shift around the bed of your truck or something like that. Alright, so let's look at the wheel kit itself, and this is it. It comes with the wheels off and these hubcaps off. And these hubcaps here, once you slide the wheel on, there's a little stopping point here. He's welded a little washer or something like that on here, where the wheel will not go into the side of the cooler. It comes close, but it doesn't go in contact with the cooler. You've got these welded L brackets on here like so. He's got the pegs here, one peg there. It sticks up, looks like about an inch or so on each side, and those just go into the pre-existing holes on the bottom of the cooler, and it sits right flush right up against the side of the cooler, so no rubbing. He's also got a he's got a plastic little pad he's got in here to keep it from rubbing the metal onto the cooler if it's vibrating or something like that, so it's not going to scratch your cooler up or anything at all. And these hubcaps here, that once you fix the rim, or once you fix the wheel down onto the axle, there's a little hubcap that you take a 3/4 inch socket, you set right over that hubcap and tap it on, and it actually squeezes and fixes itself around the axle, so this wheel is never going to come off. The only downside, the only thing I don't like about it, period, is that it's air tires. It would be nice if it was airless tires, just because it's one less thing I'd ever have to deal with. But it's okay. For the price, it doesn't bother me, because you can get one of those little handheld pumps or something like that and keep with you in the back of your truck or car or whatever. And if you ever need a little pump, just pump them. I don't know, I think the pump's like 10 bucks or something. Super cheap. But to install it, it's really easy. All you gotta do is pick this up, put it right into there, and then your cooler has automatically got these ratchet strap slots in here where the thick piece of plastic is, and so that you can ratchet down this cooler in the back of your truck to keep it from sliding. So what you're gonna do is the included strap, or if this thing was to break or you didn't like it, you could just get the smallest ratchet strap they make and do it. But it doesn't take a lot at all to get this thing. All you're doing is just making sure this doesn't come off. It'll almost stay on its own. This is just to ensure that it won't come off. And that's kind of it. You're done. You can leave this handle under this ratchet strap if you want to, or you can keep it out. That way you can kind of carry it around like so, and then there, your wheels will never come off, and you can load that in and out of the back of the truck. You can take your handle, which comes with it, to wheel it around. So there's your clearance. You're probably looking at about a 1/2 inch clearance underneath those brackets from the ground. So mainly it's just going to be used for sidewalks and pavement. I'm going to try it at the beach, so I'll leave comments in the YouTube description if it works okay at the beach. I'd be hesitant to think that it does with a 1/2 inch ground clearance, especially in that soft sand. The optional handle itself is pretty simple. It looks like it's comes off at a 45 degree from this, but he's coated this stuff, it looks like, in something that shouldn't keep it from rusting at all. It feels really nice. Did a good job welding. And basically all you do is just slide this into the ratchet area there on the side of your cooler spot thingy, bobby, and then that's it. It's kind of gravity, it sits there. The downside, which you'd have to come up with something on your own, I think, is that, yeah, it does like that, right? Causing you to have great maneuverability. It doesn't hit your shins when you're walking, which is a big plus. But then whenever you set it down, it's going to swing right out of it. That's okay in some instances, but if it's not okay with you, you're going to have to come up with some kind of way to keep that there. I don't think you want that there all the time, because then it becomes a hindrance in the way if you're moving the cooler in and out of the back of the truck. It doesn't bother me that if I'm going to move it from A to B, I want the handle on there, and then when I'm done moving it, it just slides right out. You throw it to the side. So this has been Isaiah's reviews with the Rtic 65 cooler, the optional wheel kit, axle kit, L brackets, and handle. I'll provide a link to the eBay seller, and I'll also provide a link to his YouTube channel, just in case he stops selling them. If you want to really sweet talk him, you might track him down YouTube channel way. And I'll also leave a link to the Rtic coolers. They ran some pretty good sales on these things. They're designed and engineered in Texas, but made in China. Half the price of the Yeti, with them being on sale at that 160 mark there. That was very impressive. So I think it's worth the money for that, but do you need it? Probably not. It's probably one of those things that you want and not need, but it will last you a lifetime. No doubt in my mind about that. So again, this has been Isaiah's Reviews. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video and comment below if you order these or if you like your cooler. If you don't like your cooler, if you had issues with it, just comment those down below so other people can read it and take that into consideration when they're looking at buying this thing. I think this is one of the better ones that's out there, and I think they've made some changes to the seal, because a lot of people had issues, I guess, with their lid had bowed up or something in manufacturing. So they had some QC issues on some, but mine's okay, thank God. Thanks for watching. See ya.